Well, hello everybody. We are back for season 3 of Playboy Mysteries. Now, I wanted to dive into a conversation piece that I don't think has been really talked about, or if not, well, I don't think it's been talked about at all. Now, before I get into my introduction, I wanted to do, well, this is going to be my introduction, but before I get into it, I wanted, if you're wondering what shades I'm wearing, anyways, they are the Barracudas. If you've seen the Run This Town music video with Jay Z and Rihanna, then you know. Anyways, before I get right into this, I wanted to show you guys this. Now, this is dog shampoo. It makes your dog's hair a little bit more white. And I am going to be doing a review on this for my rabbit ear segment. Now, this is by Audra Lynn. This is her shampoo. Now, just keyword in Audra Lynn dog shampoo, and it will come up. I think it's like the world's most famous dog shampoo, and rightfully so. I mean, the stuff looks good, and I can't wait to make a review and give my dog a bath and do a little video on that for you. So go check out Audra Lynn's shampoo there, guys. I would suggest it. And she also gave me another bottle, so big thank you, Audra. That means a lot. So go check out Audra Lynn's world's famous dog shampoo. Just key that in. Now, I'll just get right into the topic at hand. Do you guys like the hoodie before I get into my subject piece? Anyways, I didn't think we would be here for season 3 of my little dog and pony show, like I always call it. I really genuinely thought after season 2, I figured, well, maybe if there is more mysteries to come about, then I will for sure talk about them. But I want to say this is the last season of the American Playboy Mysteries that I do here on the BoobTube. Now, this is the final season, guys, so I wanted to get into the topic of Miss March. And her name is Saundra Edwards. She is Miss March 1957. Now, I'd like to think, as I was saying before, there's no videos of anything or really anybody talking about the crime she committed and she legally got away with in the world of the law. She got away with killing her husband in self defense. And this is something I would like to think that was a really big story at the time, or so I thought, and there was no really big media coverage, no, just a couple newspaper articles really, and her being Miss March, I would assume Saundra Edwards would, it would be a little more mainstream in the news, or at least a 30-minute special on some kind of TV show of sorts, and unfortunately, this whole scandal, if you will, just went right under the radar and swept under the rug. The scandal, maybe there was more to it, in my opinion. Who knows? But I'm going to read you guys a little bit of an article about the whole Saundra Edwards situation here. Now, Van News, California. A 24-year-old actress killed her actor boyfriend yesterday with a shotgun blast through the heart. She said he threatened her life. After the shooting, police reported Saundra Edwards stumbled from her home crying. Now, I read this piece coming up. Now, this sounds like either idolized or sensationalized gossip. Maybe Sandra didn't even say these upcoming sentences because they just sound almost too perfect and too, movie like rehearsed, in my opinion. So I'm going to read what she supposedly said. Oh my god, I hope this is a nightmare. It's gotta be a nightmare. I love him so much. I love him so. Now, doesn't that sound like a little bit of sensationalized gossip written in the newspaper? Maybe they wrote this on her behalf of her quote and just kind of had haywires. I don't know. In my opinion, it's hard for me to believe someone would say it in those words and context. And then we'll finish the article here. Saundra, a striking brunette who has played minor roles in several television series, told police she shot Tom Gilson. Now, Tom Gilson is a movie star at the time and was an actor. Anyways, Tom Gilson, 28, after he broke through a rear door and threatened to kill her and her 4 children present. She was booked for on suspicion of murder. Police said Gilson, a television actor, had a 9-month-old son by Miss Edwards. And the article continues from this newspaper article I'm reading from newspapers.com or whatever. Saundra said she and Gilson broke up several months ago and he had frequently bothered her since. She said he telephoned Friday night and threatened her life. Miss Edwards has been living with Mr. and Mrs. Richards Davidson, her sister and brother-in-law. So I guess it's her family she was living with at the time when this happened. The actress told police that Davis gave her a 12 gauge shotgun after Gilson called. She said Davis instructed her, if he comes over, you can use this to frighten him. So, from some of the research I did on this, it sounds like she got away with it in the world. I mean, she got away with it legally in self defense, is pretty much what all the articles are stating and saying. And I was just thinking, now, if that is the case, I don't doubt her story very much because it sounded like he had some alcohol issues and he was a terrible drunk from the sounds of it, in my opinion. It's just from maybe what the media is portraying or whoever, maybe at the time, to get her off on these charges because she did get off on these charges. And I'm not too sure what kind of context of their relationship was, Saundra Edwards and Tom Gilson, but however, I don't think that she should have shot him and took his life. Now, on a side note, Saundra Edwards is Cherokee. She is a Native American Playboy Playmate, and I thought that was very cool. Vice did an article on her. Now, she's been basically stating everything that I've been talking about for the last couple of years, about how Native Americans are portrayed in acting. I really like Saundra Edwards because I feel like me and her would be good friends, Miss March. I feel like she would understand where I'm coming from because even in the past few years, I've been carrying the tone and thoughts of and opinions really of we're always being outcasted, we're always being in the background or shadows in the world of Hollywood, or we're always playing some sort of stereotype typical role, and we're never basically playing an action hero, etc. So Sandra Edwards, I guess Vice did this article. They found some quotes she did, and she even said that back in the 50s when she was modeling, she was afraid to tell people that she was Native American because at the time there was no selling features or commercialism to kind of put someone in that box or pedestal, if you will, and there was really no avid, active market for commercialism in the Native world of Hollywood culture, if you will. And Sandra Edwards is pretty much saying what I've been saying. Like we're always playing the stereotype roles. We're always in a TP. Stuff like that. We're never portrayed as anything else but the most stereotype roles. And Sandra Edwards even went on to say because she's Native, she felt like she would have to at times dye her hair different colors to get roles and kind of fib to them a little bit about her race because she was a light skinned Native. And I do believe she's half German, so that even makes me relate to her even more. I'm also half German as well on that aspect. I guess you could say my Caucasian side is French and German, but yeah, I really like Sandra Edwards' attitude. She really lived a really cool, tremendous life, and it seemed after this whole scandal of killing her husband, Tom Gilson, she stopped doing movies. She just kind of faded out, and I guess a lot of people were kind of strongly insinuating, and I have to agree that after she killed her husband and got away with it legally, of course, in self-defense, but after she killed her husband, she stopped acting, and a lot of people in Hollywood were afraid to work with her and would kind of taint this image of a sex-pot kitten and would not sell or relate to the men in general, to the men or the public. Because you got mostly men as fans, and one producer was kind of insinuating in a quote that nobody wants to hire a sexy model that is basically a murderer. It kind of takes away the fantasy of the innocent girl next door type. She's a murderer. I thought perfect to wear this hoodie to talk about her, and got to represent the Blonde Mafia merch. And I wanted to do a little review on this. It is very comfy. This sweater. I thought, you know what, it would not be. I was thinking when I bought it, I was like, who knows? But this definitely exceeded my expectations. The material feels real soft. It's very comfy and snug, and it's tight in a good way. And I like it. It's a 5 out of 5. So there's a review on some of my Girls Next Level merch, the Blonde Mafia. I'd like to say there's a little mini review on the hoodie. It's a 5 out of 5. The color is a 5 out of 5. The uniqueness is a 5 out of 5. So altogether, I'm not even kidding. I like this hoodie, and it's a 5 out of 5. And what perfect hoodie, if you ask me, for Halloween time. If you don't feel like throwing on a bunch of shit, you could just wear this and be all themed out. So I really do like this. It's a kind of a unique hoodie that they've designed and come up with. So there's a review on the hoodie, a very good one, 5 out of 5. The material is good and soft, and it's snug. So, and it's very warm, by the way. It keeps me very warm during these windy, crazy windy, cold days here in Canada. So, anyways, we'll get back here to the Sandra Edwards article here. She killed her husband, and I just thought it was interesting that after how many years have went by, not one YouTuber now, besides Vice reporting about it, there wasn't one YouTuber to kind of, or maybe there is, but when I looked it up, there was not much. Since then, it was really just a huge frenzy that went under the radar, and being such a big story point, and something that the media, I would like to think, would just eat the fuck up. They would never bother to get on it, and not too sure why. And I do believe Tom Gilson. I'm not too sure, like I said before, their context of their relationship, of how crazy or good it was, but I'm assuming there was some good times at one point because she did have a child with him. They said a 9 month at the time, a 9 month year old baby at the time. So I'm assuming they did have a good relationship at some point because she did have a child with him, and it sounded like she did try to make it work for quite a few years, and it just seemed to be like a lost cause. I would like to think, in my opinion, looking through her eyes, if I were to be in her skin, she probably just felt like it was a lost cause. I think she tried to desperately cut her strings with him, and it didn't work, and he seemed like a bad alcoholic and was always threatening her, and I think we all know how that goes. And I think she just had J-Lo enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just had enough. The beast maybe was just getting too strong, and to her mental health, I'm gonna say, is probably getting too strong on her mental health to the point where she's always worrying on her behalf, her son's behalf, and the family she's staying at. So she maybe at the time, in my opinion, she just felt like, you know what, this is not good. But he has threatened me, threatened my life quite a few times just because I let him go, and she just blasted him away, J Lo style. She just, she had enough, and that was enough for Tom Gilson. Maybe Tom should have learned her lesson. I mean, maybe Tom should have learned his lesson, and maybe Saundra should not have killed him either. I don't believe in that. But you know what? I'm not too sure the extent of their relationship, how good or bad it was. But like I always say, there's no need to kill someone. That's just not cool. And I figured, you know what? Maybe it was just getting to the point for her that she was trying to maybe move to a different town, but she could have moved somewhere else and got a restraining order and just really moved on with her life in that aspect. And maybe after a couple of years of him maybe trying relentlessly to find her, maybe he would have just given up and maybe he would have just found someone else. But who knows? Maybe in some sad way, maybe it was meant to be, in my opinion, that maybe she did blast him away for a good reason. I don't know. Like, I don't know him personally. I don't know them both, obviously. But maybe if he were to keep alive, maybe he would have just kept abusing him and being horrible and just controlling. So Sandra Edwards maybe just had enough, like I said. And it's so odd to me that a lot of these really wild articles, these really wild, crazy, chaotic, I would like to think media frenzy worthy articles just totally swept under the rug and boom, over with, never to be talked about or heard of again, which is so freaking odd. It makes me wonder. Just as a side note, I love all of Holly's shows. I definitely do like the Playboy murders. I'd like to think, in my opinion, it's one of the reasons I'm doing the Playboy mysteries. It kind of inspired me to do my own little dog and pony show here, but I'm just surprised no one over there at the Playboy murders people or whoever was working on that production seen the Sandra Edwards article, or maybe they have and just tried to reach out to the family and didn't get no response. So it's I did a little interesting. I mean, I just did some digging, some interesting digging on Sandra Edwards and Tom Gilson. It looks like they did both have quite a bit of acting roles, a few movie roles under their belt. So he seemed like he was a Western kind of type actor, old school movie star kind of look he had, and it's a real shame because I mean, people like Tom Gilson. I mean, there have been many success stories of people who were just not. I don't know. How do I say? They're not abusive anymore. You know, they're not fucking up their old. You know, they're just not basically stalking their woman. You know, they've moved on with their life, and I'm trying to put it in a nice way. You know, but there has been some success stories of some homies just moving on, going, all right, I've learned my lesson. You know, I wish you the best of luck, and you do you. But there is quite more stories, unfortunately, of the opposite, where some guys just don't leave the women alone. And perhaps, in my opinion, maybe this just could have been the case. But when I read the article, where she said, "Oh no, I can't believe it! Oh my love! Oh my!" like or whatever she said, it just felt like it was either a the newspapers just made that shit up, what she said from A to Z, or if she did say that, it sounded like she was saving ass to come off across as not guilty and sympathetic for her actions. Because if that sentence is true, or sentences that she said were true, like, oh no, like, it just sounds so rehearsed in that aspect. That's what makes me stronger led to believe that maybe the newspapers, how the media can be going out of their way to make something more crazier than what it is. But again, this whole scandal maybe had a couple of newspaper articles back in the day, and that was that. And Sandra Edwards did live a very long life afterwards. I don't remember the date or year she died, however, but I do believe she died in the later 2000s. But however, she did live a very long life after this, and she kind of just kept out of the world of Hollywood and did her own thing. And it's kind of a big secret what she did afterwards. Maybe just stayed in a small town and got another job doing something else locally nearby, and just kind of said goodbye to all of that life, because I really like to think there is more to this story. In my opinion, who knows? I could be totally wrong, but uh, yeah, it's a shame, because the child that she had is really, he went his whole life not growing up without a father. Kind of always maybe in his head I was wondering the what ifs of, like, what was my father could have been like if he maybe got help, or what he could have been like if he just left my mom alone. I'm sure it comes to all these imaginary scenarios that you create in your head, and it really is not fair either. Like I always said, like, maybe she had JLo enough, but in the other aspect, there was no reason to kill him. She could have went to a different state, got a restraining order, went about it the right way, or fuck, even move out of the country. I don't know if it was that bad. And she in the back in the '60s, from the amount of money she was making, she could have easily, I'd like to think, could have got up and left, did a couple modeling gigs, and moved on with her life. Because in the '60s, the money she was making was a lot in the '60s compared to obviously now, but back then, even if she got like 5 modeling jobs and made like $900 throughout the whole month, I mean, she's laughing. She could do whatever she wants for a little bit. So I don't know why she never did that. Maybe she's just lazy. I don't know. But it is tragic nonetheless, because you got on one hand a woman who is desperate to get this abusive, allegedly abusive boyfriend away from her. And then you got on another hand a man who lost his life, and now her son will never even get to know him. And some would maybe some would argue that, well, maybe it was meant to be that the kid never got to know him. Maybe the dad was a horrible person. I find that unfair to say. Maybe he could have gotten help, gotten sober, and maybe had a success story, and maybe that could have not been the case. But I guess we'll never know, and it's sad because I really like Sandra Edwards in one aspect, because she's a native sister. She's Cherokee. She's basically saying all the things I've been saying, probably in the 60s and 70s, going how we're just being portrayed as stereotype. She got to dye her hair more lighter colors just to make people think, oh, maybe they'll think I'm like, Irish or whatever. And man, me and her, I would like to think we have a lot in common in that aspect. And she really said, hey, being native, there's not really a selling feature here. So, and there still isn't in 2025. And she said this shit in the 60s or early 70s. And here we are in 2025, and there's someone like me who's been basically bitching about everything she's been bitching about in the 60s. I've been bitching about in the last 3 years as I've gotten older and starting to realize the world of native Hollywood pop culture, and there's really slim none. Like I always say, like when's the last time you've seen a Native American on a trash mag or a fashion magazine, or like maybe even think of one right now that comes to your head that's really commercial and mainstream that you always see memes or you're always seeing their movie posters online. Like the It Boy or the It Girl of it. And I'd like to think on a side note, if you guys see my Bluffy parody video, there's those scandals where in my opinion, Buffy, they say she's not native or whatever, and there's been many others in Hollywood, mostly females portraying themselves as natives, and we come to find out none of them are native. And it's like, well, this is enough. Like we're getting sick of not even being included first of all for how many years, and then when we as natives finally have someone to turn to and look up to that is maybe a native in pop culture, we find out, in my opinion, that they're total fucking frauds and they're not even native. So how can we relate to that to any degree or aspect? And Sandra Edwards, I mean, bless her heart, I mean, she said she had to dye her hair and like kind of say she's Latino because there's not a lot of commercialism for natives, and she said she wasn't going to stoop so low to keep playing these stereotype roles. And she even did play one stereotype role from what I looked at with her boyfriend or hubby at the time, Tom Gilson. And they had her up in the most stereotypical outfit. And maybe, yes, I also agree at the time. That's the times. People were small minded, less unaware, and less educated. But however, like I said, there's someone like me in 2025 bitching about the same shit she's been bitching about in the 60s, and I've been bitching about it for the last couple of years now. Word for word almost. Like it. Because she's, we carry the same flavor, me and Sandra. Like, we're both native. I'm a different nation, of course, but however, I relate to a lot of what she's saying. Go look up the Vice article about Sandra Edwards. Go read it from start to finish. Very fucking fascinating article. I really like Sandra Edwards to that extent, and I really, props to a native sister. Really, I mean, you're just telling it how it is, and being truthfully honest from your heart about everything. And she's having her own strong opinions and putting them out there, which she should, because why not? I mean, it's been going on for too long, but that's just a side note. And I wanted to really tell you guys thank you for tuning in to my YouTube season 3. My goodness, I did not think we would be here for season 3. I really genuinely thought after season 2 I would maybe focusing my shift a little bit more on Playboy Mysteries Japan or Playboy Mysteries Germany or Playboy Mysteries Australia, which is coming up soon too. So again, I this is the last season of the, I guess you could say, the American version of Playboy Mysteries, and then I'm going to be focusing and shifting my subjects on to more foreign Playboy model subjects and playmates that I would like to think you would think is pretty fascinating in my opinion. Now, I wanted to say before I go, I was going to do the first episode for season 3, part 2 on Sue Williams, but however, I wanted to wait until I got a little more information and a little more facts at hand, or whatever, in my opinion, to really do the episode on Sue Williams. That was my last episode, and I said it was a part 1. I'm going to do a part 2. However, that will be my next second episode is on Sue Williams for season 3. So season 3 will be, this is my first episode, and then the second episode will be focusing on part 2 of Sue Williams and the more mysteries I found out on her. But again, just waiting on some side stuff on her. So tune in for the next one next week on Monday. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, don't forget to go look at the world famous dog shampoo by Audra Lynn. So I am going to, like I said, do a review on this. It's a whitener, make her hair more white because she's a little Shih Tzu slash Pomeranian. But however, go look at Audra Lynn's dog shampoo. Just Google Audra Lynn shampoo or dog shampoo. It'll come right up. I guarantee you. So thank you guys for tuning in. And I just wanted to say before I go, um, on a side note, before I end my episode, a little outro here. Things have been very good in my personal life. I'm very excited for so many things. I'm very excited. I just can't wait to share some of these things with you that have been going on, and maybe I'll do it for my Rabbit Year segment. Oh my goodness, I think my next Rabbit Year segment is just going to be off the wall, I'd like to think. And yeah, so many great, amazing things have been happening, and my sunglasses are coming back. Not these ones. These ones aren't mine, by the way. I just like to support other brands, by the way. But my whole sunglasses that I'm doing are coming back now. I have some celebrity endorsements that are going to be doing the whole thing before taking a picture, and I'm very excited for that. So I don't know. All these things have been, all these great things have been happening one after another, and I'm just very excited. And that's just one of them, bringing back my sunglasses. I was going to say to you guys when next time I do my Rabbit Ears episodes, those segments, I like to think it's going to be really interesting, more based on my personal life, but with some Playboy flavor to it too, of course. Can't leave you hanging in that aspect. But between some of the personal goals I've been doing, very thankful, and the whole sunglasses things they're coming back. The ones I used to make, these guys here, and I didn't think after 15 years, I want to say, I didn't think I would be making them again. I didn't think they would be making a comeback. I didn't think I did not think they would come back, but here we are in 2025. I'll be soon some celebrity endorsements that will be taking pictures of them, I hope, and rocking them for me. So it's just going to feel just like 2010 all over again, and I'm very excited. And besides the sunglasses, I have some personal goals that I've been working towards, some things that I just don't think people would believe, but however, in time, I will come on here and show you guys what's going on. And wow, I'm just very thankful for the few fans I have on here on YouTube. So thank you guys. Rock on and rock out. Much love to you guys. And if you found this episode entertaining, let me tell you, this season 3 of Playboy Mysteries is going to get wicked. Between Sue Williams being my second episode and some of the other shit I discovered. Now, if you think this one was good, wait until you get into maybe the third or fourth episode, which is going to be great. The season 3 here is more focused on the male subjects at hand, like Tom Gilson, more so the male subjects being victims as well. But also in season 3, we'll also be including just some playmates on their own of mysteries that I'd like to think are mysteries in my opinion. Again, this whole video was just an opinion on Sandra Edwards' life and the crime she committed. And this was also just, to put out there for public information and for educational purposes. And everything I've said about Sandra Edwards and Tom Gilson is just in a personal opinion off of the things I have seen, like newspaper articles, clippings, and just giving my own personal thoughts and perspectives and opinions on the subject at hand without any intent of defaming them in any sort of way by giving an opinion video piece that is simply just my opinion. Anyways, guys, this is also a review on that. 5 out of 5 on the hoodie. I did the review earlier in this video. It's a very comfy hoodie, and I wanted to support the girls over at GNL because they brought me tons of entertainment for I don't know how long now. So, again, if you think season 3 is going to get spicy, holy fuck, you are right. Oh shit, I shouldn't be swearing so much because, I might be young and popping in. But if you found this episode entertaining, season 3 is definitely going to be a little bit more up your alley. I'd like to think this being the last season of the American version of Playboy Mysteries, this is going to be the best and last season yet. So I'm very excited. So if you want to give me a subscription, maybe even like and comment, that would be more than fantastic and much appreciated for me to you. And I definitely do love all the people that tune into my channel, and I've just been so fortunate to just have so many amazing things happen in the last little while that it just feels great to just finally feel like I'm in a new pair of skin here, and I'm just kind of floating on cloud nine. But however, like I always go on like a broken record. Perhaps sometime down the line for Rabbit Ear segment, I will showcase some of my more personal life and more interesting Playboy subjects, a little combination of both, and I'm excited. And I don't know, some of these things, you just never think would happen again. Between that, my sunglasses coming back. These aren't mine, by the way, but between that, my sunglasses coming back, I am stoked. I mean, what is there not to be happy about? And I've been lagging on my website and I'm on my socials, but however, I will get to that in time. I give little updates here and there, but I have been genuinely busy, so I'm very excited for the new things and prospects coming up of the sunglasses, my personal goals slowly happening, and I'm very excited. And I'd like to thank you all just for tuning in. Season 3 is going to be good. Look for episode 2 next week, which will be Sue Williams. I'm hoping getting all the information on her together for episode 2 next week. So if you want to give me a subscription into your life, that would be great. And thanks for tuning in. And I'd like to think I gave you a little bit of insight on a scandal that not many people knew about Miss March, Sandra Edwards, killing her movie star husband. I mean, I'd like to think I gave all the important details on her, in my opinion. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a rocking day, evening, night, wherever you are. And tune in again next Monday, as I will be uploading Sue Williams episode number 2. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.